car with the strange name and spelling Kia Ceed has a not very long history, and it did not bloom immediately in Russia. The conditions of the summer of 2012 turned out to be favorable. When the second-generation model, JD Body, was released, sales quickened. They reached their peak in 2013 with a result of 34,981 units. This is 19th place in absolute terms and 4th in the European C segment. And belonging to the Golf class is already geographical. Kia Ceed was developed in the European, Germany, department of Hyundai/Kia for the European market and with production in Europe, Slovakia. For the Russian market, the assembly is organized in Kaliningrad. The engines of the new Kia Ceed for our market are only petrol, 1.4 and 1.6 liters. In fact, they are the same series as in the Rio. They are the same not only in volume, but also constructively. They combine modernity and tradition. Aluminum block and head, 2 chain-driven camshafts, multi-port fuel injection, variable valve timing system. There are no valve clearance hydraulic compensators. If necessary, this may occur after 100,000 kilometers of run. Their adjustment is carried out in an old-fashioned way, by selecting pushers. However, unlike the Rio, the 1.6 engine on the Ceed has a dual CVVT system, meaning there are phase shifters for the intake and exhaust valves. This increases its energy output at the top, which is a blessing for a heavier Ceed, but, unfortunately, does not make the motor more powerful. On the contrary, if the Rio 1.6 with 123 horsepower, at 6,300 RPM, the maximum torque of 155 Nm is achieved at 4,200 RPM, while the Ceed has a power of 129 horsepower. At the same 6,300 RPM, the maximum torque is almost the same, 157 Nm, but is realized only at 4,850 RPM. Here it is, the European setting for speed, for sport, while for Russia it is better to make the engine characteristic more elastic so that it is more convenient to drive at low and medium speeds under normal conditions. The engine management program, of course, is also its own. Perhaps this is also related to observations not in favor of Ceed on launching in severe frosts. At -30 to 35, this aching process is not as confident as that of Rio. As for the 1.4 engine, it was tuned for Ceed even in a more utilitarian version than for Rio. The latter has a lighter. It produces 107 forces at 6,300 RPM and 135 Nm at high 5,000, while Ceed is content with only 100 horses, but a slightly larger moment of 137 Nm is achieved at least at 4,200 RPM. As a result, starting and moving at low speeds, that is, in a city or on a country road, on a 1.4-liter Ceed is quite tolerable. Disappointment will come only on the track, on long climbs, and even with loading. In such conditions, 1.4 turns pale. In severe operating conditions, there is a recommendation to change the engine oil twice as often as the standard service interval. Well, the planned operating costs for Kia Ceed can be called moderate, since the service intervals are not short, and the list of mandatory operations during the entire warranty period is not so rich. So, according to the regulations, even the replacement of the engine air filter is prescribed only after 45,000 kilometers of run, but with an indispensable check at each MOT and replacement according to the situation. Spark plugs are offered to be changed after 60,000, coolant after 120,000 kilometers, brake if necessary. At the same time, the fuel filter, which, although located in the module with the pump, is removable and, according to the regulations, must be replaced every 60,000 kilometers. Transmission. In the new generation of the model with both engines, there is a 6-speed manual gearbox, and the 1.4 engine is available only with it. According to the hardware, no special anomalies were noticed behind this unit. Switching is generally convenient, and reliability and maintainability are at the level of classmates. Again, according to the regulations, there are no strict deadlines for changing the oil in the manual gearbox. However, it is mandatory to check after 30,000 kilometers and replace if necessary. For 1.6, an automatic transmission is also provided. The A6GF1 box is a representative of modern 6-speed automatic transmissions manufactured by Hyundai, which have been used on concerned cars since 2009. Being a classic, but still refined unit of a new generation, tuned for a comfortable, dynamic and, at the same time, more economical operation, this machine will not please you with its former unpretentiousness and durability. The vulnerable point is considered to be a complex hydraulic control unit, sensitive to pressure and the general condition of the liquid. In turn, the health of the fluid depends on the intensity of the box, and primarily its friction clutches. The resource of an automatic transmission is literally a stretch concept. A lot depends on the mode of operation. The calmer, the more reliable, but third-party experts say that by 100,000 kilometers of run, the first symptoms of wear are possible. It is necessary to monitor the condition and fluid leaks. In any case, it would be better to change the oil in the automatic transmission and the filter after hours, as the best option is recommended after 50 to 60,000 kilometers. Moreover, officially the automatic transmission is considered as if unattended. If earlier the regulation included fluid replacement at least with a run of 90,000 kilometers, then since 2013 it has not imposed this operation at all. Allegedly, they began to use a more advanced liquid, and the need for this disappeared. However, dealers are still required to check the fluid every 30,000 kilometers and recommend its replacement if necessary. On the one hand, the company again took a step towards customers in the direction of reducing operating costs. But on the other hand, despite the guarantee of 5 years or 150,000 kilometers, what about the post-warranty period of operation? How long will the AKP last with such a loyal approach? In many cases, the second or third owners will have to answer, because it is not known how the previous one drove, and not every one of them will dare to voluntarily change the oil. It's not cheap. Suspension. Like its predecessor, the new Ceed features a rear linkage chassis, but redesigned. If in relation to the first generation, the creators were blamed for a rather tough character, then here the settings were shifted to please the soft-bodied owners. Not to the detriment, by the way, of handling, although without any praises in this regard. All-consuming energy consumption also did not work out. In a laden form, complaints about excessive buildup, especially for SW, and a tendency to break down are not uncommon. However, the upgraded suspension does not yet give a serious reason to blame it for operational weakness and remains maintainable. For example, ball bearings are still changed separately, that is, inexpensively. And before anyone else, the stabilizer struts can knock, and the guarantee, unlike shock absorbers, is less on them, only 30,000 kilometers. At the beginning of sales, there was a frequent failure of the ABS. This is connected directly with the wiring of the speed sensors. Under certain conditions of the suspension, it was cut off. They fixed it under warranty, and then, probably, quietly, finalized the wiring, since the problem disappeared in cars of new batches. The first owners were also harassed by other little things. The upper brake light burst, the seat heating burned out, the multimedia was junk, and the floor gas pedal also hung, not electronically, but precisely on the mechanical part. The return mechanism did not really work. Complete set. The most democratic is the 5-door hatchback. It is offered with an engine of 1.4 liters, 100 horsepower, and 1.6 liters, 129 horsepower. Both options are available with the 6-speed manual gearbox. The car's wardrobe has 5 basic outfits, where the basic classic includes 6 airbags, ABS, automatic door locks, air conditioning, CD/MP3 with 6 speakers, AUX inputs, USB, iPod, front power windows. Not to say that in the class today this is some kind of exceptional basic level of equipment. Yes, compared to the same Ford Focus, the difference is really striking, but the new VW Golf has an even richer initial equipment. Moreover, in relation to Ceed with a 1.4 engine, only this basic level of equipment is possible, while with 1.6 everything is available. Front fogs, backlighting in corners, a choice of power steering modes, a rear armrest, rear electric windows and even cruise control appear already from the second comfort configuration, from 699,900 rubles. Separate climate control relies on the Lux version, but the stability control system is a privilege of the top versions of Prestige and Premium, as well as special versions of FIFA. The same applies to the rear view camera and LED running lights. The Ceed SW station wagon is offered only with the 1.6 engine, but is also available in all trim levels, starting with Classic, with automatic transmission. But the 3-door Pro Ceed, although it does not have engine privileges, only 1.6 of the same power is offered, is available immediately from the second comfort trim. Well, the new version for our market, the Kia Ceed GT Sports Hatch, has a special configuration. The model is equipped with a 1.6 turbocharged direct injection (TGDI) engine with a capacity of 204 horsepower, and only paired with the 6 mph acceleration to hundreds in 7.7 seconds. Appropriate suspension, body kit, and wheels, 225/40R18, a set of active safety systems, leather and suede Recaro seats, specific interior trim. All these are the hallmarks of the sporty Ceed. At the same time, it is also not without comfort and practicality. There is air conditioning, a child seat mount, a full-fledged trunk, and even cruise control. In general, the equipment is decent, especially the only one. There is still no choice in this regard. But the GT is available in two body styles, 3-door and 5-door hatchback.